Oh Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz? My friends all drive Porsches, I must make amends. Hey there, comic friends. I'm Travis. And this is another edition of What the Fugue, where I talk about what's going on with me in my world of comics. I don't know. This may be a bit of a Debbie Downer kind of a video or whatnot. Going to talk about some stuff that I consider relatively serious. It's a serious conversation. Not so much lighthearted type stuff. So, let's talk about this whole fake geek thing, okay? And bear listening to me. I'm going to try and explain myself as best I can. I'm not going to really go on a big long disclaimer. This doesn't have to do with anybody's actions in particular. This has to do just in general. I'm going to name some names of some people just to kind of get a chain of events to put me where I'm at having this conversation, okay? That's all. To me, this whole thing starts out with, of course, on YouTube right now, this is Celebrate Geek Week, right? So that's where the whole thing kind of stems from initially, I think. On Excalibur Brits this last Sunday, today's date is the 8th of August, so you can do the math, you want to figure out when that was. There was some conversation on there. Mark, MA0001, was commenting on the fact that somebody had kind of questioned him about his knowledge on Superman and whatnot, and so the conversation, I think, started there. That's where the conversation started at. Howler Mouse put out a video that had to do with dealing with the biggies, whatnot. And to be quite honest with you, I haven't seen all that video. I started to watch that video. I got tied up doing some other things, and by the time I got back to it, the video is currently not there for me to see 100% what went on there. There was some discussion. There was plenty of discussion today on Twitter amongst our community of Twitter people about different things, about what you like, what you don't like, what you should say about what you like and what you don't like. And of course, this conversation, because some of the stuff that went on in those videos about geekdom set some people off and has spawned a bunch of different videos. I appreciate all those videos. I want to name some off. I know I'm going to forget some, or I've missed some or whatever. I apologize if I missed yours. Talk about it down in the comments, please. Let us know so I can watch those videos also. You know, there's Mr. CDC AMP just did a video questioning authenticity in the community, not anybody's, but just his own, and just what does that mean. Runs the Comics, Scott just did a great video about him being a new collector, and you know why opinions matter and different opinions matter. A great video there. Howler Mouse has put up another video talking about his other video a little bit, that what his intentions were, what his intentions weren't. Greco Fabulous has a video basically, I think pretty strongly, stating his opinion on how he feels about the whole thing, at least with comic book collecting and whatnot, and his feelings of the impressions that he got based on these videos that he saw. Here's my take on the whole thing, and it's not just these videos. This has always kind of been my opinion on the whole thing since the first time I heard the words fake geek. Okay? I mean, I understand what people's intention is by saying that, but here's the deal. You don't own geekdom. None of you do. I don't own geekdom. You don't own geekdom. Okay? We don't own it. Nobody does. You don't have ownership of it. You don't have rights over it. You don't have control over it. It is what it is. We don't. I mean, honestly think about it. You don't have control. You have control over yourself, your own words and your own actions. But you don't have control over geek culture, which encompasses a tremendous amount of stuff. Everybody who wants to embrace being a geek is a geek. However you want to say that. And I'm not a real big fan of the word in the first place. I use it because it gets used. It's the label, and it's the label I function with. Now, why do people feel protective about geekdom and about quote-unquote fake geeks coming in? People who are only geek because it's cool? Well, hell yeah, it's cool to be a geek. I have a hell of a great time collecting comic books and all the other quote-unquote geek stuff that I'm into. I enjoy the hell out of it. I think they're cool things. If you think they're cool things, or you're going to enjoy them because they're cool things, awesome. I don't understand why anybody would be against that, okay? But I can understand. I can see the perspective of ownership, of thinking that it's something you need to protect, at least from my age, okay? Whether I look it or not, I'm 44 years old, I think, if I've done the math right. I was born in 1969, okay? For me, at my age, when I was a kid, a lot of the stuff that's embraced now as being part of standard pop culture almost didn't exist. And if it was stuff that you embraced, you potentially embraced it at risk to life and limb. Literally life and limb. Well, not life, maybe. I don't know if anybody who got killed for liking comic books and superheroes and sci-fi and Star Trek and all that other nerddom, geekdom type stuff that was around when I was a kid. But certainly you got beat up for it. I have scars. I have actual physical scars on my body from encounters that have to do with me being different than everybody else and embracing those things, okay? So I can understand the protective, how dare you suddenly now think it's cool all these years after telling me that I'm stupid, dumb, retarded, whatever other words you want to call, gay, queer, every other horrible adjective that you could put in there, that I'm this person because I embrace these things. And so now suddenly they're cool, and so now you wanna embrace them because they're cool, not because they're some whatever they were to me, You need to let go of that. You need to let go of that. Because for whatever reason is, that people want to embrace the stuff that you think is cool, that should be cool. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter where it's at, what your take is on it. We all have a different level of our geekdom. If we want to go into collecting comics and the whole spectrum that kind of falls under this, just the comic collecting umbrella. Let's just talk about that, because that's really what most of us in this community talk about and have in common. The biggest thing is that, there's such a wide variety of it. And none of these people are fake. Whether you're the 70-year-old collector who's been collecting since you were 7 and you own every damn comic under the sun, and we're all blown away by all the stuff you know and all the stuff you own, you're part of it. Embrace it. So is the young woman whose soul embracing really is. They're infatuated with the costumes, they dress up in cosplay, and they go to cons, and that's as far as it ever gets. They know what the character looks like and kind of how they act, but they don't read the comics. It doesn't matter. That doesn't make them a fake anything. It doesn't make them a fake geek girl. It doesn't make them a fake fan. They're a fan of that part of it. The beautiful thing is, it's a huge freaking umbrella, and there's all kinds of great stuff on it. And everybody should be able to embrace it however you want to. There's no level of, this is what a real authentic comic collector is, or this is what isn't. I mean, I can be a snot and go, well, most of you guys out there aren't, the best of my knowledge, aren't real comic book collectors. You're not real lovers of sequential art. See, there I am sounding really woohoo, because I read a whole bunch of independent comic books, and all you read is superhero books. That's bullshit. It's what I like, no doubt about it. That's a niche that I enjoy. Do I own it? No, I don't own it. Not at all. More of you, the better. So don't be defensive by it. Don't be defensive by it. The whole thing, like with Mark, MA0001, and his experience. This guy was questioning him about Superman. He goes, that had to do with his tattoo. And he's like, this comes from a certain storyline in Superman. And this guy was like, no, I've been reading comic books for the last 2 years. That doesn't exist. That's bullshit, whatever. That guy's not a fake geek. He's not knowledgeable. He doesn't understand it all. And if Mark presented the facts to him and he still doesn't want to acknowledge it, then he's just choosing to be ignorant or belligerent. He's those things. But he's not a fake geek. He's not a fake geek. He's not a fake whatever. this is where it's at. And him choosing not to do that, that's a completely different thing. You know, me standing around, or anyone standing around and saying, yeah, I own 60,000 comic books, when maybe you own 10. Does that make you a fake geek? No, it doesn't make you a fake geek. It makes you a liar, but it doesn't make you a fake geek. You know, it is whatever piece of the puzzle that you want to grab a hold of and be excited about. We should all be excited that they're investing in it, even a small piece, even a little bit. You know, we wouldn't have half the cool crap that we think was really cool if people along the way didn't decide it was cool to embrace that. We wouldn't have the superhero movies, which I think most of us like in one sense. Even if we watch them and go, oh God, that was horrible, we still like it. We like the idea, at least I do, being my age. Love the idea of the fact that this is even possible, because let me tell you, when I was a teenager, no way in hell was it ever going to be even a remote possibility that we'd have the stuff that we have now. You know, we have video games. Well, video games didn't exist at all. Well, I guess there was Atari. You know, there was a little bit of Atari. But certainly not, there would be, you know, superhero games or any of that kind of stuff. So, it doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter. If you're a new collector, you're starting today, and this happens to be the first video you're watching, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. I am so happy to have you. You know, if you don't like what you're reading, I get it. Watch some of their videos. Find what somebody else is reading and loving. Try that out. Maybe you're going to find something. But certainly you're allowed to express that opinion also. If you don't like something, don't like it. I'm inclined to say if I don't like something, I don't like the way it is, I try not to be insulting to the person who's creating the work. I mean, because I'm assuming they're trying their hardest to put out a quality product, because obviously they want to be successful. Who does stuff and not want to be successful? They want to be successful. If it's not your cup of tea, hey, not my cup of tea. Explain why, even if you want to. That's awesome too. You know, not just this, you know, and it's never about the person, or it shouldn't be about the person. And that's, you know, just my personal opinion on the negative of I don't like this book. This is, yeah, you know, not just that I don't like it, but try to explain why. But the whole fake geek thing, if you think you have ownership over it, get over it. You don't own it. You don't own it, because I'm invested in it too. And so is the next person. And the next video you watch that has to do with comic books and geekdom, and the next one, we're all invested. We all have our you know, skin in the game. We all have our own whatever. You know, whether that be just doing tons of haul videos, you know, awesome. Or you do, you know, straight up reviews, great. Or you talk about the books however you want to talk about them, awesome. You go to the hangouts, hang out with other people, great. We're all part of it. Nobody is more than anybody else. Some people have a lot more knowledge than other people do. You know, I've been collecting comic books for a very long time, but there's no way in hell I can compete with some of these guys that have really great memories for exactly what issue something is. I've never been able to do that. You know, I can remember all my storylines, you know, quite well, and weird little stuff that happened in those things. But man, for me to be able to tell you what number something is, I'm never going to be able to compete with anybody on that kind of stuff. Does that make me a fake geek? I don't think so. Or a fake comic book collector? I don't know. You know what? As a whole, I don't care. You can call me those things if you want to. I'll laugh at you and want to know, explain to how it is that I'm a supposed phony. But none of us are. I mean, like, you know, you're a liar, you're a liar. You know what I mean? Or you're going to be belligerent and not believe what somebody else says, even if they can produce the facts to show you something happened somewhere or whatever. Whatever. That's fine. That's being belligerent. That's not being fake. That's not being a fake geek. Or a fake comic book fan, or not an authentic comic book fan, or what you need to do and whatnot. You know, and it's kind of like get that out there. And yeah, you know, the fact is, you know, about doing reviews or talking about the books, if you don't like something, like I said once now, awesome. My only suggestion is, or what's helpful to me, if you say, I don't like a book, and you'll see me on Hangouts and stuff, and I'll go, well, why don't you like that book? And I'm not asking that to have an argument. Certainly, if I feel like they're missing something, I want to present whatever it is that I like about it, if it's something I like, to express this is why I like it. But it's not an argument, that's a conversation. But I ask, why? Why don't you like that? Because I want to understand why, what it is about it, you know? Oh, you don't like Hawkeye. Well, why don't you like Hawkeye? Because, man, I love Hawkeye, and I know a lot of people who do like Hawkeye. I don't like that art style. Okay, I can get behind that. I like that art style, but I can understand why you wouldn't. That's a matter of taste. Cool, you know? It's not that the creator's some sort of whatever. You don't like his work. It's not good work. Okay, cool. But yeah, I just... the whole ownership thing, you don't own it. If you can't remember, you know, if you take away anything from this, you don't own it. I mean, obviously, if somebody personally attacks you or whatever, that's a completely different stuff. But you don't own geekdom. You don't own the definition of a comic book fan. You don't. It's what anybody wants to embrace of it. Like I said, whether it's the 700-pound guy who wants to cosplay Harley Quinn hopping around on a pogo stick with a giant mallet, awesome. He has every right to that. You know, whether it's the person who doesn't read any of the comic books they buy them because they like the covers and they like to show off the covers. If that's what they enjoy about doing that, and they enjoy that about being here on YouTube and doing that, awesome. That is their thing. That is their niche. That is their part of their thing. You don't have ownership to tell them that that's not a real comic book fan or a real comic book collector or whatever. It's whatever little bits and pieces you want to embrace out of it. Because we're not all the same. We don't all have the same taste, all the same opinions, or the same bank accounts, or whatever else it takes to be, you know. I don't own a CGC comic. Am I a fake comic book collector because I don't? I don't know, you know. Actually, I know. When I say I don't know, that's wrong. I know. Got nothing to do with it. Because we all have our own tastes and how we want to do it and whatnot. And we're all here to present those things. As long as you're presenting them in a way that's not offensive to everybody else, awesome. Talk about what you want to talk about, how you want to talk about it. And I'm there for you. I'm there to embrace it along with you. I'm happy you're along. And like I said, that's coming from a guy who I think that I understand the idea of the ownership, the protective, you never used to like this stuff, now suddenly you do. You know, screw you. You know, you should have liked it when it wasn't cool. And it seems like every niche of things seems to have this. Man, I remember, I love music. Still buy lots of music, listen to lots of music. But I remember in my youth, in my heyday, when grunge, don't know how many remember that, came out of Seattle in the, early 90s, actually late 80s. If you want to be technical, clear back into the mid-80s, if you knew, which I did. You know, and I could be a snot about it. I lived kind of in the area. You know, I was embracing the whole thing way before suddenly it exploded, before Nirvana suddenly blew up all over the place, and Soundgarden blew up all over the place, and Alice in Chains, and all that kind of stuff. But you don't own it. You don't own it, you know? Have a great time while it's there, and then when it explodes, be even more happy. There's more people, there's more access, there's more people to get along with. You know, embrace everybody's interpretation of what it is and be happy. I'm probably just repeating myself now, but I hope people are still watching. You know, I go to Emerald City Comic Con every year, or have been. This last year, the attendance was something like 40,000 people. Not that there was 40,000 people there all at once, but there were 40,000 people attended Emerald City Comic Con. I don't like crowds. I live out in the middle of nowhere, basically, because I don't really like crowds. I don't want to live in a big city or whatnot. But you know what? That was okay. You know why that was okay? Because everybody else was there for the same thing I was in one sense or another. They were all there to celebrate that large umbrella of geekdom that comes along with the comic convention. You know? Yeah, were there people there that were there to see the voice actors and really had very little to do with the actual comics themselves? Fine. Still all that. If you can, now that I'm thinking about it, if you can, I don't know if I'll get a link down below or not, but there is a fabulous Will Wheaton video where a woman, they're asking questions of Will Wheaton at a convention. I don't remember which convention it was. And the woman either is pregnant currently or has a very, very small daughter. And she basically asked the question, you know, Will, what can you say to my daughter about, you know, geekdom and all that, that she can embrace when she gets older? And Will Wheaton does a fabulous job of explaining that it's just awesome. Geekdom is awesome in the fact that we all have our own little things. It's huge. I mean, if we take the whole geek thing into consideration, Doctor Who fans, Star Wars fans, Star Trek fans, sci-fi fans, toy collectors, comic books, just all kinds of stuff out there. But we can all come under one roof and all celebrate together because we all get it. It's all there. And that's how we all should be. It's a great video. Really touching. If you can find it. Awesome. because I don't know that I'm going to. So there's my ramble on that. Hopefully it didn't go on too long. Now I'm going to shift gears a little bit for those of you who are in for the long haul. If not, you know, cut it off here. Go, man, that was enough listening to Travis talk today. Pausing too long here. More stuff that's really frustrating me going on right now. It has nothing to do with our community. Nah, never mind. And that'll be a different time. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. I hope it made sense. Please make comments down below, video down below. If you have a disagreement, comment, send me a personal message, however you want to do it. That's awesome. You want to get together and do a Google Hangout and discuss it more, awesome. I don't think purely anybody's in the wrong here. I'm sure there's misunderstandings and misinterpretations of what people said, and that's all whatever. My video doesn't have to do with that as much as it has to do with the fact is that I just want everybody to have a healthy, good time and a way to keep yourself from being frustrated and angry. And just remember that you don't own it. You don't own any part of it. Okay? Thanks for listening.